What's going on, everybody? Degen Dave here, and it is the day after Thanksgiving. It's Black Friday, and yeah, I'm actually giving away quite a bit of free stuff here today, so make sure you guys are tuned in. Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, bell notification, so that way you guys don't miss the content. I've just taken some trades. The tile here was kind of looking at some weekend setups. I know market conditions haven't been that great, but even though these market conditions haven't been so great, I definitely told you guys about the BitFunded special, the buy 3, get 3 for free. I just got funded a couple days ago on another 100K account. Still working on the 150K account, but they just announced some new stuff with BitFunded, so I'm gonna have to get another 3 for 3. And yeah, guys, we got a lot to cover here, so let's get locked and loaded here. And like I said, guys, we're here to bring you guys some awesome setups for the weekend. And with that being said, weekends are always kind of, it's been told, hey, don't trade the weekends. Weekends are trappy. And so a lot of what I'm going to be going over here, I am expecting some kind of weekend pump, right? So definitely in some positions where I think we could take advantage of some of the oscillator stuff that's showing on Chart Prime. But with that being said, make sure you guys take profits. Make sure you guys have set some stops. But I am also going to give you guys some swing setups, just in case you guys are feeling a bit degen, and I am the proper degen. So guys, let's get into it here. But let me know, guys, in the chats how you guys are feeling. What kind of trades are you guys in? Are you guys getting wrecked? Are you guys kind of sitting on the sidelines? Are you guys making money? Again, it's been a tough market, but there's still opportunity with that being said. And let's start covering everything here with the market. So banter bubbles, guys, you guys can see here, for the day, we got quant up here. Almost like a mixed bag here. Aptos coming down. I am in a Aptos long right now. You guys probably saw on my Twitter that I did start a position here. I'm going to show you guys my position and all of that. And then for the week, a lot of green for the week. It looks like this new rain token. I have no clue what that is. SPX taking off. And, James actually had mentioned in the background that there's a lot of memes waking up right now. And so that's pretty interesting. Finally, this M token finally rolled over 36% for the week. Kind of insane there, right? So, and then, yeah, like I said, guys, Quant is up nicely here, 21%. Monero privacy token still doing quite well. ENA, that's a highlight from last week for any of you guys that were patient and building that long. That one was quite the ripper. We'll cover that. And then, yeah, it looks like CAS, man, what is going on with CAS? I have no clue. James, maybe you know something. Yeah, and then for the hour, guys, I think we're getting some green here, right? So I do think that this is the opportunity. The markets are closed now, so New York can't really do anything. I think most of the market makers are probably with their friends and family, Thanksgiving weekend, Black Friday, not really looking at the charts. And I think this is an opportunity for those, once the markets are closed, to pump some of these tokens and maximize on some leverage here, right? And that's what I'm looking to take advantage of, and that's what I am thinking as far as what's going to be happening here in the next 24 to 48 hours. So RSI heat map, our standard RSI heat map looks like Sirens on the higher end here. BAT token looks like BAT is back alive. And if you guys saw that, it was a big kind of pumping up token. And again, that's the crypto market, risk on assets, right? You guys are going to see a lot of pump and dump. Looks like Turbo's on the higher end here. I did see Panda talk about that one. And that's a meme token as well. Banana, right? And then on the oversold here, Bera. Oh man, I didn't even know Bera's down here. We'll probably take a look at that at some point. Trump token. So, obviously there are some meme tokens that are getting sold off here. And then Zcash. Wow. Zcash completely, maybe it's over for Zcash. I don't know. I mean, how many of you guys think that Zcash is going to $10,000? I don't think so, personally. So let's get into Bitcoin, guys. What is going on? What am I seeing? What do I think is going to happen here, right? So if you guys were tuned in last week, I told everybody, look, we got to break trend for me to kind of be bullish here. And I said, even if we are bullish, I am looking for some kind of bearish retest right now. So we're kind of at that resistance now, but it almost feels like, based on what's happening here, I mean, let's just zoom in right quick and let's talk about what happened, right? So, all the late shorts here got squeezed out. We're sitting at a point of control. We have an anchored VWAP, and then we had this pump from the New York session that led into this dump. But, this dump wasn't too crazy. If anything, I would have expected, kind of the major dump to happen today, but it was really just a 1% pump, or 1.5% pump and then a dump, but we're still kind of holding this zone here, right? So, you know, I think the ultimate damage for a lot of these tokens is going to be if Bitcoin rallies up to this 97K region. Right? There's a lot of liquidity here. I think it makes a lot of sense for some of these whales to have set their stop losses all right here, right? And right now they're probably sweating. They're probably wondering, hey, what the heck? Bitcoin needs to fall over. And so, yeah, I think it's very important that we all set our alerts here, guys, right around this region here, 97K to be exact. We have an anchored VWAP. We have a 618 hacker zone. And I am aware of this scenario, right? So just that's scenario number one. Scenario number two, or you can look at it either way, but the other scenario that I see here is that Bitcoin actually does have its pullback here. Now, for the weekend, I don't want to see too much action with Bitcoin, you know, probably see us go sideways a bit here. And then maybe Monday, we get that sell-off, right? And if we get that Monday sell-off, I think that's going to be bullish, right? Typically, a bearish Monday leads into a bullish week. And that's kind of what happened here, right? We had this kind of rally, you know, with, you know, what happened last week here. And it's kind of been bearish for the, you know, past couple of days here. But, you know, with this pullback to this zone here, I have a 382 and I have this anchored VWAP coming in here, right? So I think 88K25, you know, 88253 is a nice zone here. So let's set some alerts here, guys. Let's call it the 382 and anchored VWAP, right? And you know, currently I have the fib right here, right? The fib is set from the absolute low to this new high, you know, before it was set here. But now with this new high, make sure you guys update your fibs, and yeah, kind of looking for price action to maybe Monday do something like this. And I want to see this hold personally, and I would like to start tracking some kind of rising trend here, and then look for us to rally up to 97K and squeeze the rest of those shorts out, right? So that's kind of the other idea here. And if we start to see price action come below this territory here, then, you know, I would suspect that we're probably going to test these lows again, right? So, you know, is this the local low? I don't know, but you know, for now, this is kind of what we're going to be playing here in the next 24 to 40 hours, or even the week, you know, as far as what I'm looking for with Bitcoin. Okay. Now for USDT dominance, right, we can see that it pinged the horizontal level here at 6.54 with a pullback. So I think for the weekend, if we sell off first and we rise into this level here, I think we will reject once again and then see some of these altcoins rip. Okay. You know, if we pull back here, right, these altcoins will basically immediately rip right now, which is why I've taken some longs here. So if we zoom in on the dominance chart, you know, the 382 and the 50-day moving average could be something that could happen here this weekend, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking for, and that's why I'm mostly looking for some longs, and that's why I'm in some longs. Okay, so that's kind of the overview for Bitcoin and USDT dominance, guys. And so let's get into some highlights from last week. So this was the ENA setup, guys, I was telling you about. Finally played out, right? We had, you know, the other area, the 786 on the 1010 fib, right? So that's something that we've been using a lot. And I recommend you guys do this, right? The 1010 flash crash, the 1010 wick, draw a fib from the low to the high. And you can see how the 786 was a banger, right? It pretty much came very close. It didn't actually hit the 786, but from that macro 786, we had a nice little rally here, right? And if you guys are in the chart hackers, I did give a pendle long that played out pretty nicely here. And that was also a macro 786, guys. So 786s are magical, especially in these market conditions, right? So be looking out for that. Again, there's so many altcoins out there. I'm sure there's tons that I haven't even seen, but again, just make sure you guys are doing the science, right? And if you guys don't know anything about what I'm talking about, make sure to sign up for the chart hackers. We go over all these kinds of things that I'm talking about here. But yeah, essentially ENA played out quite nicely here. And then 𝗬𝗰, right? 𝗬𝗰 was one of the buffering strategies that I talked about and we took together on the show, and we all took the position here. I said I had another order basically around 12:10-ish, right? It hit my second order. And the next thing you know, we had this amazing rally with 𝗬𝗰. And that's kind of the way to go, right? Low leverage. Don't be doing 10x, 5x max. Small position, half size position, maybe another order in case there is a scam wick. And that's exactly what happened here, right? So this is beautiful. And I'm going to be bringing you guys some other setups here right now that can kind of play out the same way. Now, before I get into these other setups here, I do want to highlight kind of the giveaway, what I'm looking for. So I just posted this cat meme here. And so whoever, you know, we're going to pick 5, but I want you guys to go into the comments below, and I want you guys to tell me what you think this cat is drinking here, right? We're going to pick the best 5, and this is just a giveaway from me, right? From me to you guys, I'm going to give away 5 10K accounts, $10,000 accounts, and we will announce those winners, guys. So, and then, yeah, I guess do me a favor, do a little repost there and see how many people can get on the cat, what the cat is drinking, what kind of Kool-Aid is he drinking. The other thing too is I am also going to give away 3 25K Bitfunded accounts, but I'm going to give you guys those details a little bit towards the end of the show here, right? So let me know, guys, on that. And yeah, a little bit of an update here with Bitfunded, guys. So yeah, Bitfunded just announced yesterday that there's a new announcement that there's no more 5-day waiting period, right? So not only that, but the 3 for 3 is still in effect here. So let me go ahead and refresh this, and also let me give you guys an update on what is going on here for me. So yeah, I bought 3 for 3 on the experts accounts on my other account there, and I also bought 3 for 3 on the 150K accounts, guys. I mean, this is amazing deal, especially in these market conditions, right? Like, why lose your own money? Why not just invest a little bit of money, get funded by Bitfunded? And yeah, look, I got started. I took advantage of that promo, like I said last week. Here's my other account, right? So you have these challenge accounts, then you have the actual accounts, right? So I did get refunded. It's not that hard, guys. Yes, it includes being a little bit of a degen here and there, but here you guys go. 100K account profit share day is going to be December 11th, which is 2 weeks from now, right? So the way Bitfunded works is once you're funded, you can change your payout day to be as early as 2 weeks, right? So basically 2 weeks from now, I'll be able to get paid again, and yeah, looking to maximize whatever I can do here with the market. But yeah, you know, challenge accounts, it's not always perfect. I did blow one of those accounts, right? So again, buy 3 for 3, and that's part of what their approach is, right? 6 different angles to get funded here, right? So then yeah, I still got this Apex account here that I'm working on my second account, right? So back to my main account, where I did get 3 for 3 on the Apex accounts here, guys. I did get a challenge stage 2 here, kind of doing some degen plays here, guys. You know, I'm a little bit down, but stage 2, all you have to do is get $7,500 profit, and then yeah, get funded 150K account. Pretty ridiculous here. But what's also awesome about Bitfunded is you can work multiple accounts simultaneously here, right? So here's another account. You know, I'm up like 33% of the profit target, you know, 52, 5, and then another one here, 54. So I'm actually working on this account today. And then there's an account that I haven't touched at all, right? So you can actually work multiple accounts, but the way it works here with Bitfunded is you can only use 1 live account per tier, right? So once you pass and get funded 100K accounts, you can still work on getting past, you know, passing those other accounts, but you can't use the funded account until you lose or breach one of your the main account, right? So that's kind of the strategy I have here. Is I'm focused on building a 150K account here on the main account, and also 100K account, and then also on my other account, if that makes sense. So essentially, I'm going for 4 funded accounts because you can have, you know, a 150K account, 100K account per account, right? So hopefully that makes sense. I know that's kind of like ADD all over the place, but at the end of the day, it is an opportunity. And, you know, unfortunately, because I signed up, you know, before this new announcement yesterday, you know, there's these 5-day deals that you got to wait through, right? So that's kind of the update. Is the 3 for 3 is still going on. And yeah, no more waiting 5 days, guys. No more waiting 5 days here. So to take advantage of it, guys, go to the description below under Bitfunded here. Click my link, and yeah, go into this Black Friday, claim your 50% off. You know, click here, and yeah, pick which one you want, right? I'm talking 100K, 150K accounts. Might be going over some of y'all's heads, but if you're just getting brand new into trading, hey, start off with a $5,000 account. It's only a couple $100, and you get 6 of them, right? If you want to kind of step it up a little bit here, 10K accounts, you get 6 10K accounts for $300, right? And I highly recommend doing the 2-step challenge, right? Don't, you know, the 1-step challenge is great, but you know, there's a lot of people I've seen, they're like full clipping and they're passing it, then they lose the account. Like, you got to have some kind of strategy. And as long as your strategy is consistent, you should be able to pass stage 1 and stage 2. So everything that you guys are seeing that I'm showing you on my accounts, they're all stage 2 accounts. And plus, it's a little bit cheaper. Yeah, you wait a little bit longer, but I think at the end of the day, it's about skill set and growing your skill set. And then, yeah, at that point, print money for yourself. So Yeah, I've got two things going on here. This is my stage 2, and then this is also my stage stage 1 here. So taking some trades here, as you guys can see at entry. And so let's get into some of these setups right now. So yeah, look, 𝗫 was a token that we talked about last show, right? And this was the squiggly that I showed you guys. And what we were looking for is a 786, right? So we came into the 786 fib from the 1010 wick, right? So here I am. This is the daily time frame. And what I did is I drew a fib from the low to the high. And look, we're hovering around the 786. But what I love about 𝗫 protocol now is that we printed a blue reversal dot on the daily. That gets me fired up. That is a high conviction, some kind of bounce is coming soon situation. So I'm going to zoom in here now to the 1 hour time frame and check this out. We just got a 1 hour bullish divergence. So higher time frames checks off. 1 hour time frame, it's saying, hey, we should see some kind of bounce here. And at the end of the day, for me, it's just consolidating. So this is the exact squiggly that I drew, and essentially we could just drop it down a little bit here, and that's kind of what I'm looking for 𝗫 protocol, right? So now, how high could we go? I mean, I think the 50-day moving average could be the breaks, right? I think the value area low here could be the breaks. So the entries now, and I would say that the stop loss could be very, very simple here. 174, loss of the trend, loss of the 786, loss of the value area low. That's kind of the, hey, let's get the hell out of this trade signal. Okay. Now, as far as where we're at now to the 50-day moving average, that's about a 20% move. I'm not saying there's a 20% move to be had here, but maybe a 10% rally, right? A 10% rally could make sense for the weekend, a little 10% pump and get out, right? So I would say start paying attention to this zone here, right around 205, take some profits. The bullish case would be we see a candle above this horizontal, and then we see a retest, kind of hold this for support, and then look for that move to about 226 here. Now, again, we're dealing with a daily bullish divergence, right? And I think, again, there's a scenario of Bitcoin going to 97K. And if that happens, I would say that 𝗫 protocol should finally have its actual run here. And maybe it will be a 20 to 30% move, right? So last week, if you're tuned in, 𝗓 𝗬𝗏 played out pretty nicely, 20 to 30% moves. We're not always going to get it like that, again, especially in these market conditions. But if we can get one or two of them to play out, hey, that's what's going to pay for some of these stops. And at the end of the day, one of them is going to be a heavy winner. And that's how you make the profits here in the crypto markets, guys. So 𝗫 protocol looks very, very good. And just to recap, I would say final stops at 174, entries pretty much now. You can ladder into the trade. So let me kind of bring this box down here a little bit here. But, I would say entry now, ladder in all the way down to like 180 makes sense. And then, yeah, again, be careful with your risk management there. Okay. So Aptos, I gave Aptos to the chart hackers, the daily candle. I'm in this trade. Again, there's a lot of high conviction stuff going on here. Daily bullish divergence and the 4 hour printing spider webs and a blue reversal dot right here. And we're pretty much lower now, right? So we're kind of still in the zone. I'm in a little bit of a drawdown with Aptos, which is completely fine. I don't know why these aren't loading up. But yeah, I'll show you guys here. I'll reload it here in a second. But, I'm in a little bit of drawdown. I'm 5x leverage, right? So I'm basically negative 20%. But my plan, and I do have another order here at $2, right? So the idea here for Aptos is if you guys aren't in the trade yet, you can enter now, add on $2, and then looking for this 618 to be the bounce zone, right? So this is the 1010 wick. This is the 618 from the 1010 wick. And if there's definitely needs to be a hard stop here because the 786 is pretty deep, right? So make sure you guys set a stop loss here for Aptos because 24% down to the 786 is going to look quite ugly. But one of the reasons why I do like Aptos is because not only are the divergences in play, but 𝗬𝗏 has been showing quite a bit of strength. Again, last week we saw this massive rip with Aptos, and if you guys are following following 𝗬𝗏 has partnered with Aptos, and Aptos hasn't really done anything yet, right? So I think once 𝗬𝗏 makes an announcement or something like that, then we could probably see Aptos have kind of that delayed run here, right? And again, all the oscillators are kind of checking off for me here. And then I would say final stops, guys, 185. We start closing under here, then this trade is invalidated, right? So the key, again, in these market conditions, and I'll always preach this, is no more than 5x leverage and don't go full size kind of one half size, the other half, just in case we get that wick, just like what we saw with Wolfie, merge the positions, and then see that actual move go to the upside here, right? And at the end of the day, these market makers are just looking for liquidity. They're seeing where the stop losses are. They're hitting all the stops. They're buying the token even harder, and they're pumping their bags. And it's just the game of the whales. You got to play the game of the whales here. Now, next token that I really like, I'm in this trade, is Linea. Linea has been doing quite well here, right? And there's some really important information about Linea. I was doing some research about it, but basically this protocol just had an upgrade November 4th, and essentially there's a dual burn mechanism, and for every transaction on the Linea network, 20% of ETH is burned and 80% of Linea is burned. So there's a burning mechanism going on here with Linea. And here's what I like about Linea is that, number one, we found support off the 10.10.786 wick, right? So here we go. Here's the fib, right? And that's what I'm saying with Aptos. If we lose that 618, wait for the 786. That'll be the second opportunity. But here we are. We bounced off the 786 here at 00895. We've also broken trend. We've broken trend on the higher time frames. And if you drop an anchored VWAP from the absolute low, check it out. It's coming in right here, right now. So not only do we have an anchored VWAP, but I've got a 382 fib. So here's the fib from the low to the high. We're on a 382 right now. As a matter of fact, this is the new high. I didn't even see that. We're sitting on the 382 right now. And guess what? We have 2 point of controls. We have a bigger range and a mini range. And this red line that you see here is a POC. So we're pretty much at entry right now. I'm in the trade right now. And this is one of those deals where you could ladder in, you could have an extra order in case there's a scam wick down here. And it's not too bad, 10%. But if you're the type of person that doesn't understand that, hey, I don't know, I just want a stop loss. Well, guess what? You can set yourself a nice little 3 or 4% stop loss right here, 0.0980. And essentially that's losing the anchored VWAP, losing the point of control, looking for something like that. Okay, so I think this is a great setup. This is based on ETH, and if you guys pay attention to ETH today, everything's kind of taking a dump, but ETH is kind of holding in there, hanging in there, blowing through the wind, and it's holding on. So yeah, I think with ETH kind of showing a little bit of strength, hey, maybe we see some kind of rally here with the ETH narrative, right? And Linea is part of the ETH narrative. Okay, so that is an ETH narrative play for you guys. Next one I'm going to give you guys is Synthetics. I just took a position with Synthetics as well. Actually, also on my live account, I'm in Synthetics. And look, you want to pay attention to what hasn't really dumped so hard today with this sell-off, right? And you can see here that Synthetics, Near Protocol, holding on there, Jupe, Sui, Aster, Wilfie, right? These are the ones that are doing quite well. Aptos, yeah, kind of a disappointment. But again, 2 positions, right? We're laddering into that guy, right? So this is kind of the reason why I'm looking at these tokens, you know, which ones are holding strength. Now, for Synthetics, look, higher time frames, absolute low territories, absolute low. Like you can't get much lower than this, right? It's still a thing. We had this ridiculous rally just last month, right? Ridiculous. And there was some fundamental news behind this rally, 300%. Now, look, this could be a swing trade. It really could be. But this is the horizontal that I'm looking at. I mean, look at April of 2025. Look at these lows. We're in it right now. We're in the zone right now. Look at this low. We're in the zone right now. Look at this low. We're in the zone. We're in the zone, right? So yes, it's been kind of like a disappointment. I think we tried to long it up here, but you know, when it kind of just keeps going down and down and down, and it's holding a lower part of a horizontal, I'm looking for some kind of pop, whether it's a big one or a small one or a medium-sized one, something. And so on the 10-hour time frame, look at this oscillator, all those bullish. I mean, that is spider webs within spider webs here, right? So it's trying to say, hey, something's going to happen here. So look, this is higher time frames. This is the 10-hour. Now I'm going to take you guys into the 1-hour time frame. 1-hour time frame. Look what we got, guys. We got a blue reversal dot coming into the weekend. Okay, so entries now. And if you guys are like, I don't want to ladder into this, completely fine. Give yourself a 5% stop loss below the lows right here, 538, right? If you guys are paying attention to Synthetics over the past 48 hours, it is not dumping that much, 1 or 2%, 1 or 2%. It's trying to run. Look, it had this nice little 12% pop here. It's trying to run, and I'm telling you guys, when it runs, it's going to be retarded. And if it roll, I'm looking for a 20% pump here, guys. I'm looking for 20% pump. This could easily be a bit funded setup that could help you guys pass your challenges. Now, if you guys want to ladder into this, which I am, there's this wick here, right? If they are going to send us down and take the wick out, I think it's going to be a 𝗬𝗏 situation where they immediately reclaim and freaking send it. So I do have another order right here at 513, and that's not too bad. It's about a 10% drop. So at 5x leverage, that's negative 50% drawdown. But when your second order hits, it immediately changes that negative 50% to negative 25%. And then the bounce should go, and you should immediately see yourself at break even and in profits shortly thereafter, right? And so I talked about a strategy on Tuesday that whenever the second order hits and we go into profits or break even, you can then sell half of your position to go back to your normal position sizing, so you're not as stressed out. But I think synthetics is going to be a banger, right? Now, moving on to the other ones. I've got 3 more for you guys. And dude, it's already 5:27. I've got 3 minutes left. I'm going to go over. It is what it is. 𝗬𝗏. Okay, so I like 𝗬𝗏 a lot here. We have a 3-day bullish divergence. We are also in all-time low territories once again, right? And again, some of these will keep going down. Like, I'm not trying to say these are the absolute bottoms, but if you got the oscillator printing a 3-day bullish divergence a couple candles ago, we should probably pay attention. I did post this on Twitter, right? So if you're not following me on Twitter, follow me, because I'm always giving free setups and free content. But pretty much, we just printed a blue reversal dot as well on the 1-hour time frame a couple candles ago. The other part that I like about 𝗬𝗏 is that if you drop an anchored VWAP from the low, we're sitting on it right now. Right, so we have 1-hour reversal dot, anchored VWAP, pretty much at entry now. And yeah, set your stop loss below the anchored VWAP. You can give yourself a 3% stop loss here. And if you get stopped out, oh well, hey, it was worth a stab, right? The risk to reward made a lot of sense. And look, if it rolls here, I could see something like that happening here for 𝗬𝗏, coming up to the 382 retracement. This is a 382 retracement here from the absolute high to the bottom. That would give us a 20% move. And that's kind of what it is, guys. 10 or 20% moves. Get the heck out, pass your challenges, and get ready for the bigger move when the markets wake up, right? And again, if the market conditions are going to be chop, learn to play the chop. Now, if this setup fails and Bitcoin starts tanking, the macro 618 on the 10-10 pull is where I'm looking at. So 20 cents. And guys, 𝗬𝗏 at 20 cents just blows my freaking mind. I mean, even for spot, this is amazing opportunity right now. Okay, so we cannot ignore the 3-day higher time frame. I mean, there's not a lot of tokens showing 3-day bullish divergences. This is going to have a wicked rip when it wakes up, right? And maybe that's going to be with Sol waking up a little bit. I don't know. But scenario number 2, Bitcoin dumps, and I think we're going to stop right here. And I think we're going to get that full rally here to 32 cents. This horizontal, kind of like what you saw with ENA, a major resistance horizontal level. And this is the swing trade for sure. 53%, right? So eyes on 𝗬𝗏. It looks really, really tasty here, guys. Now, last 2 setups here is 𝗬𝗏. Okay, now 𝗬𝗏 is doing quite well. It's at 150, which is crazy. There's a lot of talks of maybe 𝗬𝗏's dead. And that's kind of, when people start talking about 𝗬𝗏's dead and it's over, I get bullish. I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity. We have people saying it's dead. That means there's probably a rip coming to the upside very, very soon. Now, it's not in a level now. I think this is an opportunity for when we get a dump. And what I'm looking for is a 382 pullback, right? So you can see here, I have a fib right here. I guess I should update it. Does this wick really count? Yeah, I guess we can, right? So again, always update your fibs, guys, as these new candles, appear on your trading view here. But what I am looking at really is this anchored VWAP from the lows. I'm looking for that wick. I'm looking for this trend line to be confirmed, because it's not yet. We have 1 touch, 2 touch, looking for that 3rd touch. And yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be a stupid wick, take everybody out trying to build the longs, and then deviation into the or confirmed trend line here, and then see that final pop here for 𝗬𝗏. Okay, so if you guys are following me here, I think 149 or 147, this is kind of the territory to get into this trade. So I'm going to basically draw the box right here. and give you guys those levels right now. Pretty much 147 down to 144 is the idea here for 𝗬𝗵. And you know what? If we start losing the trend and we start losing these anchor VWAPs, then I'm out. Very simple, right? Does not want to hold on to. Now, if you want to hold on to it in low leverage, 3 to 5x leverage, and you're okay with the drawdown, I personally think, this is not financial advice, but I personally think if we are to visit 130, I think it will be a double bottom. I think if we do see something like this, I think it's a double bottom. And I think 𝗬𝗵 is finally going to have its nice little bounce to the upside. And for me personally, when 𝗬𝗵 gets going, it's going to go. Right, it's not going to stop, and it's probably going to come and test the 50-day moving average. There's also this horizontal level here to be aware of near the hacker zone. So let's put a resistance marker here, and yeah, that's about a 25% move. Okay, so for me, 𝗬𝗵 is one of those setups that in the event of a pullback, let's grab this trade. It's not in a trade zone now, possibly if you want to, but you know the oscillators aren't really aligning for me here. I'd rather just personally wait. Again, there's so many tokens, so many opportunities. Just get the ones that are ripe right now. And then the last one is Aster. I gave everyone the Aster short on Tuesday. Played out quite nicely here, but you can see it's sitting on this point of control. It's sitting on the 786. However, it's trying to break this. It's trying to break it. So I think a little bit more patience, because this is like a like a table, and the more times you hit the table, eventually the table is going to break and we're going to slice through it. And that's kind of what I'm looking for here, right? And I know the 𝗨𝗚 is also looking kind of the same situation, right? So, I mean, maybe some of you guys are in Aster longs right now, and that's completely fine. I'm completely out of Aster now. But if you want to take a stab at it again, I think the 786 in the point of control is the opportunity, right? But then look for how high the bounce is, because it's struggling here. It's not really getting these nice bounces. The anchored VWAP is now acting as resistance, right? You can see there's a bearish order block here. So even if we do get some rally into the weekend here for Aster, I think 113, pay attention, because you have a 50-day moving average. You have this trend here, just a lot of resistance. And personally, I would rather wait for the breakdown of the 786 in point of control and for the wick into the 618 here. So I do have a 618. Just to make sure this is accurate. Yep. From the absolute low to the absolute high, we have the hacker zone, 104, 102. And I know that the 𝗨𝗚 is also looking for 102 here, right? So this is kind of what I'm looking at. You can see I already have my alert here, kind of at the lower part of the hacker zone. And I actually do have some limit orders set here on that. Okay, so that looks good to me. Let me see if I can fire up my accounts here and show you guys, right? So this is kind of my play right now, right? This is one of the stages that I'm working on here. Again, I'm up quite nicely. I'm holding a Bitcoin short as the hedge. A little bit bigger size here, right? You can use a little bit more size here, and that's one of the secrets that I figured out in Bitfunded is try to figure out where Bitcoin's going, use a little bit more size, and use those profits to kind of be more of like, okay, cool, I'm right. Let me start firing up some longs here on some of these altcoins, or you can play the hedge strategy here, right? So I do have a hedge just in case these tokens go down, and you can see here I have a lot of orders ready to go here, ready to fire up. So look at this jupe setup here. You can see I'm in the position now, but I have another order sitting here at 22.56. So if we could get that scam wick on the weekend, what's going to happen is my positions are going to merge, and it's going to rally up here. That's kind of the plan, right? And if we start drifting down here, I'm going to cut the position. Okay. So that's kind of the idea with jupe. Near protocol, same thing, right? I have an order now. I have another order at 174. Okay. And then the same thing for Linea. No, Linea, I have a hard stop. Linea, we already talked about that. We start drifting and losing that POC. I'm getting the hell out of this one here. So Linea, you can see I have a hard stop at 00974. And then synthetics, same thing, right? 2 orders, low leverage, wait for it to play out. Wait for it to play out. That's the idea here, right? And then if Bitcoin starts to dump a little bit, I'm going to take some profits, and basically it's a decent hedge just in case I do have to start cutting some of these positions here. But you can see kind of smaller size here for these initial positions and a big Bitcoin short. Okay, so that's kind of my strategy here on that. And yeah, let's rock and roll, guys. So James, I know you had some important information as far as like news. The United States is about to announce something. If you don't mind sharing some macro stuff with everybody here.
Yeah, the big thing this afternoon was that the Fed balance sheet was coming out. It was all over Twitter, everybody tweeting about it. It was coming out at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. But it came out, it was exactly as expected. It wasn't above, it wasn't below, so it was just completely neutral. People were thinking it was going to show that the balance sheet was expanding and all this stuff, and QE starting, even though they haven't quit QT, but that is coming. We've ended the month now. November's finally done. We don't come back, markets open until December 1st, and that's the day that QT stops officially. So both sauce there is that we could be heading into QE if they need to get on this immediately. And I've certainly seen some numbers out there that they're going to have to start pumping liquidity in right away because there's problems in the system. So the money's got to start flowing. So you never know. On the show with Dylan, I was looking through the past couple of days just at a year ago to Thanksgiving and saw that we had the day before Thanksgiving a year ago, we had a massive pump, huge green candle. And then we kind of chopped around a bit for a few days, but then we kept going up right through the first 2 weeks of December into December 17th was the peak, but there was a massive rally for the first 2 weeks of December. So if that happens to repeat, we could see some really nice news here. Now, somebody did say, well, that was during the whole Trump pump anticipation of Trump taking office, right? That, yeah, and that's true enough. We don't have that catalyst, but we do have QT ending. We have rate cut decisions on the 9th of December coming up here too. We could have a pump into that. So we may very well have a nice pump here too. So maybe, like you said, getting a bit of a drop down to that, whatever it is, even the 87 or whatever, that could give us our takeoff there. Those are our entries for a higher low maybe on the macro.
For sure. Yeah, guys. I mean, James is giving you guys the wisdom for free. Like any kind of pullback, guys, I think that's where we get in. I think that's the bullish pullback. And then, like he's saying, we could see a crazy rally in the crypto markets here. 10% rally, right? But even if we get this 10% rally, we could still be in this bearish posture. But 100%. Again, we'll be looking for the shorts here. I think shorts are kind of outplayed, right? I think there's a lot of people sweating right now. You know, I think a lot of people have stop losses here, right? So it makes a lot of sense to squeeze them out, whether it's now or we get this pullback. They think they're right. They start adding to their shorts and then we squeeze them even harder. Right, it's a game of liquidity. So,
and typically this whole Santa rally too, right, that people talk about, it's going to happen the first 2 weeks of December, not the last two, because people go on vacation, they close down positions, they're flying all over the country, doing whatever they're doing, sitting around the Christmas tree. So yeah, typically we should sell off the end of December, but
yeah, and I think that would make sense to see like a bunch of red towards the end of December and like, you know,
slow and just choppy and whatever, and some selling off beforehand, de-risking for holidays, and then we just get kind of blah for the actual Christmas until the new year. Then we can pick back up again, hopefully.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, and look, I'm gonna finish it off here with giving away 3 Bitfundeds. I know Dylan. So guys, like crazy stuff. Chart hackers, we are 1 year old officially today. Today is the 1 year anniversary. It's Black Friday, like the official Black Friday. Anyways, for me, actually, we did some shopping early, about to go shop again. But look, I'm gonna give away 3 Bitfundeds, okay? And I'm gonna give away. Let me make sure I have the details correctly here. I'm gonna give away 3. No, well, let me see. Yeah, so the cat meme thing, I'm giving away 5 10K accounts. And then I'm going to give away 3 25K accounts. 25K accounts, guys. But here's the catch. So look, here's the deal. Chart hackers, it's 99 a month right now, but we're going to 149 a month. Okay. There's too much demand. We're one of the best performing groups in crypto banter. We don't mess around. It's 24/7. We're always giving alpha. Even in market conditions right now, you think our membership count would go down, but it's not. And it's because, guys, we're giving shorts, we're giving longs, we're making money when we're going up, we're making money when we're going down. Okay, so anybody that locks in to chart hackers will forever be at the 99 per month. Okay, until you cancel and you want to get back on, then yeah, you're gonna have to pay the 149. But anybody, if you know that you're gonna be a chartist anyways, if you know you're gonna be in trading, if you know for a fact, okay, get started with us. Use the Black Friday code. Okay, and whoever, the first 3 that sign up for the 1 year subscriptions, and you got to use my link. Okay, so make sure you guys click my link here, right here, the bit.ly Degen Dave D. First 3 confirmed. you guys are going to get the 𝗕𝗵𝗿𝗃 account. So $25,000 account, you got 1 year locked in, you've got a massive discount any, you're locked in at a cheap price. I mean, it's a freaking steal of a deal, guys. And it's Black Friday, and this is it. This is pretty much the last offer. So I highly encourage you guys to take advantage of that. And yeah, my time is pretty much way over. But guys, do me a favor, say in the comments, say, guys, please let them have more than 30 minutes. Sometimes I get a little bit of backlash that I'm going over, but at the end of the day, guys, I want to provide value, content, and yeah, again, there's opportunities left and right, even if we're in crappy market conditions. So with that being said, cheers. Hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend. If you guys are in the States, have a great rest of the Thanksgiving holidays, and we'll see you guys on the next trade.